Hello, and welcome to our lesson on thinking about audience and purpose in writing. The first step towards effective essay writing is to know why and for whom you're writing. This lesson explains how to understand your audience and purpose, and how these two factors affect your writing. Imagine you've just had an amazing experience. You were able to save someone's life by performing CPR. You want to share the experience with 3 people: your father, your best friend, and the admissions officer at your first choice college. How will you describe what happened? Will that description be the same for each person? Probably not. Although the subject remains a constant, each person is a different audience, requiring different word choices, levels of formality, and tone. Because you're sharing the experience with these 3 people for different reasons, the purpose of your description changes too. You might tell your father to let him know that his advice about taking a CPR course was invaluable. To your friend, you might stress the emotions the experience evoked. In your college application essay, you place an emphasis on the experience's revelation of your competent and responsible nature. Audience and purpose not only determine how you write, they shape your content or what you write as well. Therefore, the first step to writing better essays is to understand who you're writing for and why you are writing. Let us look at understanding your audience. Imagine that you've been asked to write about your life-saving experience for the local hospital newspaper. You expect the audience to be adults, so you plan and draft your article in anticipation of that audience. But when you submit it, you find that the hospital plans to use your article in a supplement for elementary school students. Can they print it as written? Not if they want your readers to understand what you've written. Understanding your audience. Imagine that you've been asked to write about your life-saving experiences for the local hospital newspaper. You expect your audience to be adults, so you plan and draft your article in anticipation of that audience. But when you submit it, you find that the hospital plans to use your article in a supplement for elementary school students. Can they print it as written? Not if they want their readers to understand what you've written. Understanding your audience is a critical component of effective writing. Before you begin any type of essay, you must find out the following. 1. Who will read your essay, and why are they reading it? 2. What do they know about your subject? 3. What is your relationship with the reader? Pinpointing your audience. If you're writing for a teacher who knows your name and knows who you are, pinpointing your audience. If you're writing for a teacher, you know his or her name and face, as well as the expectations he or she has for your writing. But determining your audience doesn't always mean knowing exactly who will be reading, grading, or scoring your essay. In fact, often you'll need to write for someone or a number of people you'll never meet. For example, if you are taking the TEFL or IELTS, you know that 2 people will read your essay and score it. You also know the criteria for each score. You don't know the readers' names or where they're from, but you know enough about what they're looking for to understand how to write to them. Knowing your audience in this case means knowing what they're looking for. In other words, your readers will pick up your... Another important consideration is how your readers might feel about the subject. Will they be interested in it? If not, what can you do to arouse their interest? If you've taken a position on an issue, how likely is it that your readers will share your opinion? If they are likely to disagree, how can you help them accept or at least understand your position? Finally, there's one more question to ask about your audience. What is your relationship to him or her? This relationship helps determine the style, tone, and format of your essay. Though the writing situations discussed in this lesson are different, your relationship to the actual reader is quite similar in each case, that of evaluatee to evaluator. The primary reason your actual readers, who are college admission officers, TOEFL IELTS scorers, and teachers are reading your essay is not for their reading pleasure. Instead, they're reading to evaluate. How does this relationship affect your writing? For most situations, it is in your best interest to be formal but not too stuffy, respectful but not overly gracious, and courteous but not ceremonious. You must also follow the provided guidelines or expectations. For example, if your instructor wants your essay typed in a 12-point font, double-spaced with 1-inch margins and one staple in the top left-hand corner, that's exactly what you should hand in.